I, 28F, have no interest in being with my boyfriend, 31M, but don't know how to break it up. I accidentally started dating my boyfriend. Before we were dating, he was going through a rough time during the tail end of the pandemic, and I met up with him in a friendly way in the way I had done with others. He became quite attached, and started implying we were dating. I am very shy and just told him I wouldn't make a good girlfriend. He misinterpreted it as wanting to be in a relationship and not feeling good enough for him. In truth, he was just pressuring me to be in one, and I felt guilty and lacked self-confidence to say no. Through this, we ended up in a relationship, but every time I tried to leave it, he would get very upset about something or completely misconstrue my words. We've now been together for 6 months and probably only met that many times, and I really am not attracted to him and don't want to be with him. He keeps asking to meet up as we haven't seen each other for 5 weeks, and I know I need to dump him, but my crippling lack of self-confidence means I can't get the words out. I've previously been in abusive relationships that I couldn't leave, and I have a terrible time trying to assert myself. I clam up completely and start sweating, and this is what's happened every time with him. How do I explicitly but kindly tell him that I don't want to date anymore? Too long did not read. How do I get over crippling fear and dump someone I don't want to be with? Sorry to be blunt, but you have to own up to your life and decisions. Even if you're not actively making a decision, you're passively making one. You don't accidentally get into a relationship, you let it happen. Your decision to not say anything to your boyfriend about not wanting to be in a relationship with him is still a decision. If you don't feel comfortable telling him in person, then write him a letter, email, text. There's no need to be kind. He's obviously manipulating and taking advantage of you. And then get into therapy. Link him to this post. Problem solved. Tail end of the pandemic. You must not be from America, how lucky. I don't normally advise people to break up in texts, but since you have allowed this to go on for 6 months, you need to do something. Write a text telling him you are moving on and don't want to be in a relationship with him anymore. What you're doing is cruel because you have led this guy to believe you like him when you really don't. End it ASAP so you don't continue to give him the wrong impression. Just leave. It's not complicated. Just cut ties, block his contacts, and leave. This is going to be difficult either way. Getting anxious, having your heart pound, sweating, it'll happen. It's unpleasant, but it's not the end of the world. You're going to feel much better overall once this is done and you can both move on. This guy can't take a hint, but you also need to stand up for yourself and put your foot down, as difficult as that is. Text him to break up and then block him everywhere you can. You can dump him via text. He's not going to just go away, you have to break it off. Yes, he may have pressured you into dating and switch your words around, but you have to be firm and stand up for what you want. You've been dating for 6 months, this has gone on way too long. Call or text and say I don't want to see you anymore, then block his number. It's not the nicest, but you'll feel better. During the tail end of the pandemic. The pandemic isn't over. Break up with him on the phone or via text. Don't meet up in person. It will be easier to be firm and direct if you aren't face to face. The pandemic is not over, but that relationship really needs to be. Other people have already given you some specific advice, so I'm going to focus on the larger issue. You absolutely need therapy. I don't say that to be cruel. A good therapist will help you address your confidence issues. A lack of self-confidence to this degree is going to keep getting you stuck in bad places and screwed over. If you can't set and uphold boundaries, more abusive and shitty people will pick up on that and take advantage of you. Other people's poor treatment of you is not your fault, but will continue to happen if you are unable to assert yourself. Because lots of people suck, unfortunately. I've been in this situation, almost the exact situation actually. I ended up breaking up with the person via text message like others have said. He started harassing me, like hundreds and hundreds of texts and calls a day and some threatening and mean, so I eventually had to block him on all platforms. But I don't regret breaking up with him via text, and it made me feel more comfortable because of how he would pressure me. Send him a text that it's over and then block. 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 This deserves an award, for sure. You can dump him via text. Link him to this post. Problem solved. This is how I got into my first relationship. I didn't know how to say no. It was a weird dynamic and so unhealthy. In my case, the other person knew I didn't want to be with them but was also in straight up denial like I was. You have a lot more agency than you give yourself credit for. Rip the band-aid off. You'll feel like crap for a few days, but then it gets better. You're fooling him and yourself by staying. As the receiver of someone in this position right now who is leading me on with false hope, please put yourself in his position and see how he'd feel. Write the words out first and read it out to him if you need to, but you must do it. If not in person, at least on camera video chat. But in person would be best. You need to ask for help from someone if you can't get the words out, but you need to figure this out, otherwise you will destroy him. Get with another dude and then have that dude tell him if you don't want to tell him yourself. Or, if that is no good, then send him a text or an email and tell him. You have got to figure a way to do it one way or another. This is so firm and empowering, thank you. I mean, you didn't even consent to this relationship in the first place. Here's how it probably ought to go. You tell him you never wanted to or consented to dating him in the first place, and are not dating him now. He's been broken up with. And then afterwards, if he misunderstands you or otherwise misconstrues what you're saying, that's not your problem. You stated what you need to say, his inability to listen to you is his problem. Block him on everything afterwards. I don't know what's wrong with this guy that he receives a clear no and decides this means something totally different, but it's definitely not your problem, nor are you responsible for what he says or believes. Breaking up via text is fine. You pull the OG line. It's not you, it's me. Just tell him you aren't in a good place right now to be in this relationship and you want to break up and try and work on yourself. Avoid being dramatic, but hold your ground. No, you don't want to meet up to talk. You don't need a guilt trip or his help. You need to be left alone. You appreciate him and his understanding. You have my permission to break up with him over text or email. First, block him on all devices, accounts, and platforms except the one you will use to inform him that you are breaking up with him. Then, send him this message: this relationship is not working for me, and I will not be seeing you again. I am deleting your contact information, and I ask that you do the same for mine. Best wishes. Then block him on that final account. Write down what you want to say first and then tell it to him. Tell him how he made you feel pressured, how you've obviously been trying to get out of it, and how you don't want to hurt his feelings but he's hurting yours and you need this to stop. Being upfront and honest is the absolute best way. I know it's hard, but any other way will make you feel guilty and you'll hold on to that and not be free. Good luck. If you're struggling to talk to him, could you write yourself a script to read from? Or even break up via a message. I would be very, very clear here. Maybe say something like, things aren't working for me and I'd like to end the relationship. I feel like this won't work in the long term, and I wish you the best of luck for the future. I know this will be really hard for you, but it sounds like you need to be blunt with this guy. Then, I'd go no contact in order to avoid getting pulled back in. It could be good to look up some videos on assertiveness. I also struggled with saying no thanks to abuse, and learning this skill really helped me. You're not living with him, right? If not, just text him and break it off. Whatever he replies back, whether he's mad or sad, you don't even have to reply. This sounds like it is stressing you out a lot, and it doesn't have to. It's only as hard as you make it. You can literally end it and then block him. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If you're wanting to stay friends, that might not happen, and that's okay too. But whatever you do, girl, it's your life. You need to be happy and not stressing out while trying to make someone else happy. Tell him how you never wanted a relationship, didn't have the voice to vocalize how you felt then, but you're telling him now. You are not in a relationship. You do not want to meet. You do not want to text further, and you do not want a phone call. Block his number, move on with your life. Don't even wait for his reply. Send, block, live life. Don't be kind, be truthful and direct. Text him, we're through, I'm not interested in continuing this relationship any further. Wish you the best, goodbye. You're on autopilot and have no ability to say what you want. Look into therapy because you shouldn't be accidentally getting into relationships. How do I explicitly but kindly tell him that I don't want to date anymore? At this point it will be hard to sell. I felt pressured to be in a relationship with you and never had feelings for you. In a positive light. I would recommend ripping the band-aid off and just telling him you're not interested in dating and cut off contact. It may be harsh, but it's important to take control of your life. Also, you're hurting him more the longer you prolong this. Text him, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I've decided that I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. That's why I've been so hesitant to meet up with you again. I'm just not in the right headspace for any relationship right now. Thanks for everything and I wish you all the best. You're 28. You really should learn to speak up. You didn't accidentally end up in a relationship, you let it happen. Anyways, just send him a text. I think a breakup via text message, email, or letter would be most appropriate here considering you guys have met only 6 times total. You don't need to over-explain. Given your level of involvement with each other, you should be short and succinct about it. Okay, I'm sorry if this comes off as mean, but this is genuinely pathetic. Take control of your life and speak up for yourself. You're a grown woman. You didn't accidentally let anything happen. You never wanted to be dating him. Just send him a text that says, "I'm breaking up with you. I don't want to be with you, and I'm done speaking with you." Send it, then immediately block him everywhere. That's literally all you need to do. You don't owe him anything. Not an explanation, not your reasoning, not your feelings, nothing. You let yourself be bullied into a fake relationship you never wanted. Again, you don't owe him anything. And seriously, block him everywhere immediately. Do not give him a chance to try to argue with you, or manipulate you again. You know you're too weak to do it in person, and doing it over the phone allows him a chance to try to keep manipulating you. Just send one concise clear text, then block, block, block. Name here, remember I said I would not be a good girlfriend? I meant it. I do not want to continue seeing you. I tried but it is not for me. You deserve someone who wants to be with you and I am not that person. I'm writing this now because every time I've tried to tell you in person you misunderstood. I don't want to date you anymore. It doesn't make me happy. Please put your energy into meeting someone who does want you. I'm blocking you now because I don't want you to try and talk me out of it. Take care of yourself. Your name here. And for you, please see a therapist and start working on scripts and techniques to help you set boundaries. You don't want to wind up having to flee to a different country because you agreed to marry someone by accident. Honestly, it sounds like he's counting on your being self-effacing and unable to assert yourself. It seems like he knows very well that you don't want to be in a relationship with him, and he's engineered ways to keep you connected. If he's the kind of person who can't hear you politely suggest parting ways, you'll need to be direct. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I wish you well, goodbye. Then block him everywhere. Boom. Done. I literally cannot stop thinking about the scene in Pride and Prejudice where Lizzie Bennet turns down her cousin's proposal of marriage after reading your post. Her cousin Collins believes that it is the custom of elegant females to turn down men on the first proposal, so he thinks she said yes. This is exactly what happened when you got into this relationship. Lizzie Bennet had no advocate to speak for her but herself, with a mother who wanted the marriage and an indolent father. But she asserted her own voice and refused not only Collins but a very rich and powerful man when he came along. You must also pull a Lizzie Bennet and stand up for what you want. You only get one life, so live it for you and not anybody else. I have an easy solution for you. Type out a very forward text to him that says, "I don't want to see you anymore. Do not contact me again." And then look away from the phone and press the send button. Block his number and pretend it never happened. Celebrate with your favorite meal. I can't say that's the nicest thing to do, but I think it'll work in your situation. Give me his number and I'll tell him. How do you age 5 years in 3 years? The pandemic isn't over, babe. Be honest with him. You're my age and we've been legal adults for a decade now. I would ask a friend to help me. Have her there with me and I would call him and say it's over and I won't be answering your calls anymore. Pass her your phone, turn off your ringer and have her answer the texts he sends. Then after a little back and forth she can just block him. 50 ways cool. Just ghost him like my girlfriend did to me. He will eventually get the hint.